it's Gary Pearson just always looks so relaxed, doesn't he, at the wheel here?
Yes, he does get out of the car these days looking a bit red-faced though, but yes, he does look relaxed. It shows he's been working hard. Yeah.
Yeah, so much experience, and not much he hasn't seen before on a racetrack, that's for sure. But he's under pressure now because it looks like the Kent car is moving up to mount a challenge, and in fact it would seem that the Kenton Ward chase car can operate in a slightly wider envelope when it comes to the lines. It seems to put its power down quite well, and it doesn't quite matter where he is on the circuit. He's making ground, that's for sure. Fastest lap of the race still with Gary Pearson earlier on, but now perhaps he'll respond and just put a quick lap in again.
I don't think Gary is playing games though. I think
he's run wide.
Yeah.
In cut 7.
Ahead of them is the Benjit Desai Mark 1 Jaguar Saloon.
It's only one saloon, which is
it's
unusual. In fact, at Castle Coombe recently, the Jaguar race was pretty much all Mark 1 and Mark 2 saloons.
God, right. Yes, but it looks as though for a moment it's leading the race, but actually it isn't. Of course, it's being lapped by the 3 leaders. And is that a new fastest lap? It is. It's a new fastest lap by Richard Kent, assuming it's him.
And that was with an excursion, wasn't it, at Stowe?
Indeed.
Just out over the curbs.
Yes, 2:47.316. Quicker than they did in qualifying, which was a 2:48.376 for pole position. And closing right up onto the tail of Gary Pearson then. As they come out of Aintree onto Wellington Straight, waiting for them to appear over the... There they are. And he's got the lead.
He has. So that pale blue nose, it's almost like the Cambridge blue, isn't it, of the Marinelli concessionaires, Ferraris of the period.
Gary is fighting back there, took a tighter line through Brooklands, now going into Luffield.
Yes, you can see it's the that is Richard Kent aboard. Chris Ward has a predominantly red crash helmet.
He's driving a good race here, isn't he, Richard Kent?
Yeah, he's doing very well. He's had a lot of experience in Jaguar-powered cars in recent times. Quick in a Lister as well.
Did he used to race in Formula Audi? I've got a memory of him racing single-seaters some years ago, 10, 15 years ago.
Coming down through Maggots.
Yeah.
Now getting the car organised for the flick-flack at Beckett's. Got the first element, then the left-handed middle element. You don't want to use too much road coming out of that because it's all about getting through the exit onto Chapel and the Hanger Straight. That's so important, building that momentum for the longest run down. That's actually probably the Wellington Straight and the Hanger Straight, probably very similar.
Yes. Down into Stowe Corner then, and Richard Kent occupying the middle of the road. They're beginning to drop Matt Wrigley.
This is a really superb dice between this pair.
So into Club. There you are, Marcus. That was a view of the...
Oh, running really wide is Kent. That's twice he's been off the circuit. Once at Stowe, once at Club.
I would say he's on the limit.
Yeah, it looks like the car is just dancing, isn't it?
It is.
This,
very lively.
Kind of greasy. Yes, I think that's what Gordon Shedden described the GT40 as this morning when he came there. That lively.
Lively.
Yeah.
The new. Yeah. Well, certainly Richard Kent, very impressive here because, as Marcus has been saying, Gary Pearson, a recognised master of driving around Silverstone in any historic car, but certainly in Jaguars and E-types in particular. And I think we're now in the pit stop window, aren't we? Yes, let me just check that this is what the message is telling us. Yeah, pit window open. So how will they split it? Half and half, or some come in soon?
Well, of course, Pearson's not to worry about that. He can just jump straight back into it.
Yes.
There's nothing to jump out, I guess, just has to continue, but he knows exactly what conditions are going to be like. Chris Ward won't be overly worried about the conditions.
I don't know exactly. I mean,
very few people have done more lap track at Silverstone than he has worked for 84 having a dive down the inside there, which is that is Reed Gong, the Canadian, and Andy Keith Lucas, son of Chris of CKL5. Oh, and that's the Bryant family.
Louis Bracey.
No, it's Lou Bracey. Similar car,
yeah.
similar colour car.
Yeah.
Lou Bracey in the 100. Ex-saloon car racer.
Yes, Anglias and things.
Yeah, Anglias
Cortinas.
principally, and those Cortinas.
We'd like to see what's going on at the front. I know we've got to show the other cars as well, but somebody's coming to the pits. 2 or 3 have come into the pits, actually. Wilmot is in, and so are Zisser, sorry, and
Zisser are in.
The Finberg Gordon car.
Here we go. 77 is the change there. That's yes, Arif out and Zisser in.
And meanwhile, back at the front of the field, we've got Richard Kent just holding off Gary Pearson. Now, has Matt Wrigley gone into the pits, or has he just dropped back? Anyway, through club. No pit stop this time by either of them, because if they... Oh, a wonderful bit of opposite lock sliding there by Gary Pearson. Yes, Wrigley is still there, but he's dropped back, hasn't he? Richard Kent's enjoying this. I must say, I mean, you've seen more probably than I have. I've not seen Richard Kent go as well as that. See, he had a Lister, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah, well in that. But this is very impressive to see.
Really nice run.
See,
he'll want to maximise that, and then pop the secret weapon, Chris Ward, in.
Or perhaps prepare these days not so secret weapon.
Exactly. Another single-seater racer of York.
Here they come then, down to Brooklands.
Yeah, really engaging tussle this.
It's very rarely that anybody beats Gary Pearson in an E-Type, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. And back at the Silverstone Classic, of course, we had Ben Mitchell won in a fixed head, but then lost out due to some really bizarre pit stop. An infringement, wasn't there? And then there was the race was cut short and wound back a lap. So Ben Mitchell, who won it by rights, was reclassified. Race was awarded to John Minshaw, who I'd have thought would have beaten in this race, but I guess could well be racing at Portimao, the Algarve Classic this weekend.
Through Beckett's then, the fast S's. Is that Jason Minshaw now behind the wheel of that? 55.
55.
That we saw spinning earlier on. Apart from his running wide moments, I would say Richard Kent looks slightly less on the edge than Gary Pearson is. Gary's using all his skill and experience, driving that car absolutely on the limit.
Yeah, it's great to watch, isn't it? It really does. Oh, it just slides and twitches.
Spoaches soon,
again.
didn't I?
He's over the curb on the edge of exit of Stowe.
But Gary would, of course, see that about to happen and back off to make sure he didn't get entangled in that little moment there by Richard Kent in the lead. Coming through club. Still no sign of them peeling off into the pits. And we don't really want them to. We'd like this to go on. But now, that was a hand signal there. Marcus, you may have missed it, but there was a hand signal by Richard Kent as he came past the pits. Now, probably that means, yes, I see what you're telling me, I'll come in next time.
That's right, and I know that Lewis Beals, our co-commentator, is in the pit lane, and he's got Chris Ward standing beside him, waiting to get into that car, which is currently in the lead. The 88 fixed head coupe leading the 23 Roadster. This is kind of, I just remember a similar pairing of cars with John Quick and Warren Pierce back in the sort of early 70s in mod sports, as it was then.
Yeah, because Warren Pierce had the Roadster.
That's right.
And John Quick had WUU2.
WOO11.
WOO11, that's
yeah,
right.
WOO11.
Yeah.
Which is still racing in historics, that car.
Wonderful. Well, there he is still. Richard Kent keeping Gary Pearson at bay. I suppose Gary can just sit there and wait and see what tactics then he'll follow them into the pits or give himself a clear lap.
I think Gary knows, of course, he's up against the very rapid Chris Ward in the latter stages. So perhaps he's just sort of girding his loins for the last half of the race.
Yeah, there's still plenty of time in the window. We've got, there's another 13 minutes, I think. Because the race is still not quite halfway, 33 minutes to go from the original 1 hour. Knowing Gary, I reckon he's going to say at the end of this that he's had a really, really enjoyable race, because he's really on his mettle now. What have we got here? Number 7 is Mark Donner. All the cyclist Andrew Smith. Mark Donner went first in qualifying.
52 is still Andy Newell, if got to be believed. It's a black crash helmet, some yellow flashes on it, the Josco Motorsport boss. Right behind Newell is Mark Donner in the kind of Dubonnet coloured car, number 7. Ahead of them, Dave Coyne in the Farrell car. Now, the Minshaw-Melling car had an orange helmet in it, hasn't stopped, so one assumes that is actually Jason Minshaw in it. There's a wave.
They're both waving. Well, he didn't, although he waved last time, he hasn't come in at the end of that lap, so he's still out there waving again.
Just spotted somebody they knew on the pit wall.
Ah, right, okay.
They've got spare capacity, you see, these top guys.
Right.
This is building into a nice little battle as well. And this is the battle for 4th place, 4th, 5th and 6th on your shot.
So that's Dave Coyne in 4th place at the moment in 189. Andy Newell in 52. And we think in the red car it's number 7 at the moment, being driven by Mark Donner. Well, we were hoping to get the details of start drivers. Sorry we haven't got them, but
I think what's happened is the start list has gone to the timekeepers, which is as it should be, and so their screen reflects what we're seeing. Oh, and there's been a change. We had 23 Pearson back ahead, and he's going to hold it unless the 88 car can run round the outside of Richard Kent. He can't at Luffield. And
nice try.
Yeah, it was.
Retrieve the lead, but it is then Gary Pearson in front now as the cars come out of Woodcote onto the Heritage pit straight. And Richard Kent determined to get that place back if he can. He can't as they go into Cobb's Corner. So it's Gary Pearson then in front. At just about the halfway stage, 30 minutes and 10 seconds on the clock. Out of Copse into Maggots. And then right, left, right, before they reach Hanger Straight, where the fixed head coupe ought to be able to get back on terms.
I think the aero is much different between the two cars down the.
I would go for the fixed head coupe being the quicker car.
So you're probably right. It's quite interesting because the Roadsters tended to have a little flip in the boot, didn't they? A little slot, which would take cold air away or hot air away from the diff and the and the brakes, etc. You can see that little slot on the back. And pulling away, lonely race in third for Matt Wrigley. Coming to the end of the 11th.
Into the pits.
Yes, has gone the second place car. And in fact, he then briefly shows us top of the chart, of course, because he's the timing screen is triggered from a point at the start of the pit entry. And as they come, you can see side by side on your screen, one on the track is leader, Gary Pearson. Into the pits has come Kent. And that's also run by the Pearson's engineering guys.
So 60 seconds the car has to be stationary for.
And you can see the figure of Chris Ward on the left in the green Malden Salt Racing Team suit.
It's a wonderful shape, the E-Type shape, isn't it?
That's right.
It's just a great looking car.
Andy Brown at the front, designer of Formula 3000 Marches of yore. The clock is ticking there. They're obviously going to check that he stays stationary for that mandatory period, which is 60 seconds.
Meanwhile, back with the leader, Gary Pearson, of course, has to make a pit stop as well, and has to be stationary for a minute, even if there's no driver change.
It's interesting to see just how much correction the top drivers use in the corners to keep the cars progressing on the limit. And that heat haze coming off the engine bay as well.
Well, I think Chris Ward's in the race now. But we need another lap. Well, the order's going to become jumbled up over the next few minutes, but Matt Wrigley has yet to stop either, has he? Dave Coyne hasn't stopped.
No, most of the front runners haven't
stopped. No.
It's only down towards the back end of the 20-car pack that we've got a bunch of stoppers.
But if you have a Chris Ward in your back pocket, you might as well play him at this earliest opportunity.
Yeah, it's still damp and a bit slippery.
Yeah. That's the Ollie Bryant. You think it says that Ollie Bryant only in that car? Yeah. So yes, it's a Class D car. Not as quick. Whee!
It's a lovely slide.
That was good, wasn't it? That's Ollie. Yeah.
He's pushing really hard.
So Gary Pearson leads, but up to second for the moment will be Matt Wrigley.
That's the Wilmot 184.
Which has been in, hasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, he's been in. Yes, the leading pit stopper, of course, is the number 88 car, which also has the fastest lap at 2:47.316. Gary Pearson, his best lap is a 2:47.572, so little to choose between them.
They're about a second and a half quicker, something like that, than they went in. No, about a second quicker than they went in qualifying.
The track being, it's still very treacherously slippery, but it's not as wet as it was when they were out qualifying earlier.
Maybe a little salt from Chris Ward's back, rather like red arrows, kick out their coloured exhaust. Maybe some salt in the exhaust will improve the track.
Yes. That was a great looking slide. That's Chris Ward in action now. Perfect opposite lock slide at Stowe Corner, now coming into Club. That's number 77 we're seeing on the screen now, which is, that's changed, hasn't it, to Guy Zizza?
Yep, Guy Zizza now driving that car.
Here's Chris Ward. He's going to make some good pictures, I think, over the next few minutes.
Yeah, that's right, and he's Just watching to see who was ahead of him on the track. Is that another low drag they're coming up to?
Yes, it's the other low drag car. It's not the Wrigley car, I don't think.
The 184 Wilmot car, maybe.
Of course, Chris was the senior instructor at Silverstone Drive Racing School until not so long ago.
Yeah, a few years now, because he's been kind of out of the fold for
That's right.
those 3 or 4 now, something like that, maybe more. Winner of the Spa 6 Hours down the way as well.
And he certainly knows his way around Silverstone.
That's right. 7 car, that's the Donner and Smith, still in the hands of Mark Donner.
Yet to stop.
Yeah.
Running just behind 88, which...
Leader into the pits, and that's Gary Pearson then after 13 laps. So the second of our front runners to stop, this time from the lead. And there's the familiar Batman waving in the pit lane.
Now, those two are battling for position, but they've yet to make their stop. 189 Dave Coyne.
And they're both going together.
Oh, there we are. Right, and 7 coming in as well. Mark Donner.
So Matt Wrigley now the de facto leader in 89. So these cars they were battling, but they're into the pit lane, 2 of them together. Number 7 there, Mark Donner. And ahead of him is the Coyne and Farrell car. So they're running 3rd and 4th, or were. I didn't see the where the Newell Sauter car had got to. That had dropped back, but it's made it stop, hasn't it?
It's now made it stop,
Yes,
so it's dropping back.
Driving it now. He's a great technician as well as being a very competent driver.
So the Wrigley's swapping over, son to father.
And you could see that Chris Ward was attacking the corner with
absolutely,
relish, wasn't he? You
yeah.
could kind of see him working the wheel.
Well, I hope we can follow him for a lap, actually, because just watch him in action is a great sight. Turning into Abbey. Yeah, constant movement of the wheel. But all beautifully under control. Hope he's not going to blot his copybook. He does have the occasional moment, but very rarely.
And they have all stopped because William Paul, who was the last to go in, is in, and there's still 21 minutes and a half of the race to go. So there was a minute and a half to spare after William Paul became the last stopper.
Now heading down towards, do we get a speed trap speed? We don't actually, do we? But getting up to the maximum speed they do on the circuit, coming down Wellington Straight and coming into Brooklands now. And where will he be in relation to Gary Pearson is what we need to suss out. Going through Luffield.
That was interesting, wasn't it? That plexiglass rear cover with the fuel filler in one side of it.
There's Gary Pearson. So there we are.
Together,
coming. Well, Gary's in the lead. Chris is second, going through Copse Corner now.
It's a few seconds, isn't it? But it's I think it will work its way out in the last 20 minutes. It's both of them have got 20 minutes to get their teeth into this.
Who would you put your money on, Marcus?
The foreshortening of the angle. Do you know, I think Chris Ward's looking really quite menacing there.
Yeah, I agree.
He's looking more aggressive through the corners. So he put it over the curb there very neatly. And slid the back end. Here they come. Out of
Chapel Curve onto Hanger Straight.
So half the length of the straight, something like that. I would think. We'll get a real sense next time they cross the timing line, which will be another 20 seconds, something like that.
And the rest of it are really out of it now. It's between these two, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. We'll compare their lap times this time round. Often easier to chase than be chased. Oh, and that's Rhea Sauter off the circuit at Copse Corner. And for 144, the Pochol car goes round as well.
It's getting to the point now, isn't it, where it's deceptively slippery still, because it dries out on the line.
So there's a couple of low drag coupes involved in this tussle. 89 there, which is Mike Wrigley. Been racing a very, very long time.
Yes, Formula Ford in its early days.
In an Image FF1.
Amongst other cars, yes, that's right.
You saw him there.
Yeah. So 7 is now, we think, Andrew Smith, don't we?
Yep, that would be right. That car now, yes, they're 1, 2, 3 again. They're really, and that's Donald Smith up into 3rd, and the Wrigley's down to 4th.
That's
car
Mike.
Number 89. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the next one along will be the ex-Dave Coyne car, now being driven by Robert Farrell, its owner. He is 5th. And 6th is Ollie Bryant, number 111. 7th is William Paul, number 73. 8th is 52, Rhea Sauter. 9th, 144, Paul Pochgill. And 10th is, now that's one to watch, 55, Jason Minshaw now in it. He should be making progress up the order.
We think it might have been decided by Minshaw though, because it had an orange helmet in it before when it had.
Which could be Jason Minshaw.
It was Jason Minshaw,
Yeah.
So I think it's now Martin Melling.
Right. Okay.
But I think we'll see on the times.
Yes.
Best to respect, Martin's not as quick as Jason.
Hanging the tail out there was Gary. I think Gary's doing a quicker lap times now. This is he last. Oh, we'll have to wait for the next lap to get their most recent lap times. The best lap of the race was by Richard Kent earlier on at 2:47.316.
Yeah. In the car we're watching, which is now with Chris
Yes.
Ward aboard, cut 7. Various Shells wore the cut 7. He did exactly the same as Richard Kent did.
Yes.
It's understeered a little bit wide at Stowe. And I wonder if he can think. I wonder if he actually thinks, Gary's just got the edge on me here and is just squeaking a little bit further away.
But you can see the car's movement on its suspension. You can see he really is getting the maximum out of it. He gets nearly right off the track there.
Is that a new fastest lap?
Yes. Yeah. 2:47.294 then by Chris Ward. 5.75 seconds is the gap, and 16 minutes we have to go. Gary on the last lap did a 2:47.8, Chris a 2:47.2, so he pulled back half a second. That's not, I don't think, going to be enough, is it, in 16 minutes?
No, it looks on this rate of gain.
There's the Mark 1 Jaguar Saloon heading down towards Stowe Corner. Yeah, I think it was Jason Minshaw who started in 55. Martin Melling not making progress. The Jaguar Desai, of course, is not on the pace of the E-types, but doing a good job of keeping out of the way of the cars that need to lap him.
Yeah, it's a shame there's a few more saloons
Indeed.
around to play with.
We've got a few in the later race, though, haven't we? Got in the Coombs class.
Still good-looking cars, aren't they?
They're what, sorry?
Good-looking cars.
Those saloons?
60 years on.
Absolutely, yes. I'm old enough to remember that when there were regular cars to be seen on the road.
You probably went to school in one.
No, Headmaster had a Mark 7, but that wasn't the best looking car, but these are great looking cars, you're right.
And that amazing XK engine dates right back to 1948.
Yes.
Which is staggering.
Yeah, so the battles that we had in the British Saloon Car Championship in those days, Jack Sears, Mike Parks, David Hobbs, Bruce McLaren, John Surtees, all in those Mark II saloons. Oh, bit of a wobble there as he braked for Stowe.
What was so brilliant back then, Ian, was that the Grand Prix drivers also took part in a couple more races, maybe 2 or 3 races on the programme. A sports car race, a GT race, maybe a saloon race as well. 184 is in the pits, which is the Wilmot team. Jaguar E-Type.
Yeah, I was at Ilta Park the day that Jim Clark won 3 races. Although it wasn't the Grand Prix day, but nonetheless. I still like the story of Sterling Moss winning the Formula 3 race on the same day as he set the fastest lap in the Grand Prix. In the British Grand Prix.
These days, I mean, it's things like contracts get in the way, isn't
yeah,
it?
that ID.
That's the Mark Gordon car, isn't it?
Nick Finn, yeah. Yes, it is.
Finberg and Gordon.
Gary Pearson once more on screen. The gap 5.3. It's come down slightly, but it's not coming down anything like enough. No, at the current rate. So
1.7 the previous lap.
But you can see the 2 cars on the same shot as they come down Wellington Street straight into Brooklands. So Chris can see his prey, but his prey is going very quickly.
Prey's beyond the claws of Chris at the moment.
Yes, out of Luffield then. For the 17th time, yeah.
I bet Gary Pearson's never kept a log of how many laps he's done
I sometimes wonder
around
that.
Silverstone, but it must be tens of thousands.
Yes, yeah. But I bet if you asked him how many races he's won around Silverstone, he wouldn't remember. There's been so many.
He won one at Castle Combe a couple of years ago and said, "This is the first time I've been here." I was quite surprised about.
Now going into Maggots then, the distinctive blue-nosed grey fixed-head coupe. I don't think it was this car, but Dick Prothero was on the list of favoured customers to receive early versions of the original E-Type when it first came out in March 1961. There was about a dozen who were given early production versions to hopefully race, and they did. And he
was Elmer Richard Prothero, wasn't it?
Elmer Richard Prothero, yes. Yeah. And he used to race an XK120, which he called the Ancient Egyptian because he found it in Egypt when he was with the Air Force.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Into club. Love the way he flings the car in.
That's beautiful to watch, isn't it?
Yeah. A master at work, and over the timing line, that's 17 laps completed by those 2. The gap's come down another few tenths, but it's only a few tenths. It's down to 5 seconds, 5.034 seconds. And we have 10.5 minutes remaining.
There's not much in the way of traffic to help or hinder, is there?
No, there isn't really, is there? It's such traffic that there is well-behaved traffic by the looks of things, what we've seen.
20 cars spread around a 3.6-mile circuit. Wellington Straight then, under the vehicle bridge, down towards Brooklands Corner, which is down the gearbox. Still see a little bit of moisture coming out of the surface. 1 or 2 dry lines beginning to emerge.
Oh!
It was a big slide, wasn't it?
But I call it touch the Jerry Marshalls there. Those of you old enough to remember Jerry. Yeah, of course, this year, we haven't actually said it, we'll say it again, the 60th anniversary of the E-Type first appeared at the Geneva Motor Show in 1961, March 1961. First raced a month later at Alton Park and won in the hands of Graham Hill. Not this car, but an E-Type Roadster.
Yes, those two kind of lightweights turned out, didn't they? Or semi-lightweights, just whatever they were then, weren't they?
Oh, just specially prepared. They were
Race
basically road cars that.
And then they evolved into what 72 looks like.
Yes, that's right.
To that sort of lightweight shape with a little lip on the boot. And
stood on the inside of Lodge Corner at Dalton and watched that race. Never to be forgotten.
Clearly.
Well, what's going on behind them? We've got the two leaders fighting it out, 5 seconds apart. The gap to third, it's amazing the way this gap's gone up. It's in third place, it's now number 7, which you think is Andrew Smith at the wheel now, and he's 57 seconds behind the leader. No, sorry, 57 seconds behind the second place car. He's over a minute behind the leader.
And Andrew Smith's an extremely competent driver.
Exactly.
He's got a Lola T70 or something like that, or a GT40, and he's quick.
Fourth is
Edinburgh.
Fourth is the Wrigley car, number 89. Fifth is the ex-Dave Coyne, now Robert Farrell car, number 189. And then 6th is 111 Ollie Bryant. 7th is 73 William Paul. 8th is 52 Rhea Sauter now, ex-Andy Newell. 9th is 144 the Potchgill car. And 10th is ex-Jason Minshaw, now Martin Melling.
It looks like, in fact, in most of the cars, the quicker driver went first, with the exception of the Kenton Ward car, which runs in second, because Wards has managed to break Kent's fastest lap.
And new fastest
back to Pearson.
Yes, Gary Pearson's now set the fastest lap. So obviously equal, or more than equal to the challenge. 2 minutes 47.193. And so the lead gap has gone up a little. It was just over 5 seconds. It's now just under 5.5 seconds. So it's a small
Ward's
difference.
Response was what, a 2:47.
6:09. Well, I think that has made Gary's point, hasn't it, really, that he is going to win this race.
Looks like it.
Barring something unforeseen.
There was that tantalising glimpse of a potential scrap to the flag 4 or 5 laps ago.
That's
but
right.
As you say, Gary Pearson is the acknowledged maestro around here. He's showing that with his pace.
1516E registration number. Interesting, because that is a Staffordshire registration number, and when they reverse numbers, this is a very
tenuous
point, but it was one of the very earliest. The other one was H from Middlesex and E from Staffordshire, with the first reversed number plates. Total piece of trivia. Ollie Bryant's gained a place. He's up into 5th now, number 111. So Ollie Bryant ahead of Robert Farrell in his car, number 189. There's car 100, which is running around near the back. That's Louis Bracey down in 18th place. And we have 5.5 minutes of race time remaining. The race ending, of course, on the first time the leader crosses the line after the time has expired after the hour.
Looking up from Copse there towards Maggots, you can see that the circuit is still glistening in places. There's a bit more grip to be found in some of the corners. There's the 111, which is Ollie Bryant, recent winner of the Spa 6 Hours with James Cottingham of DK Engineering.
Looking much more traditional with its bumpers still fitted to it. In fact, that is a Class D car, I think, isn't it? Yeah.
You can see how low the sump hangs underneath the car, so you don't want to rattle over too many curbs.
I know. since there's one in the garage at home, which I haven't driven over the curves too often. Well, Chris has responded. The gap is now under 5 seconds, but it's only slightly under 5 seconds. It's 4.9. And as Marcus has said, there isn't much traffic to cause problems, if any traffic to cause problems. So I don't see that Gary's going to have an untoward moment before the end, even if the gap does fluctuate slightly.
It's what amazes me always about watching these real stars at work in these cars is how much fingertip control they exhibit. Then occasionally there's sort of about 20 degrees of lock just thrown on, and it's all just so unflustered, really. Just reading what the car's doing on the circuit.
What's Chris up to these days? Now that he's no longer at Silverstone or JD
He's
Classics?
He's involved in a team over in Essex, Malden way.
Right.
And that's how he's got involved with Steve Osborne, who
Right.
is the Malden Salt company, which celebrates its 140th anniversary next year. I'm reliably informed.
Oh, right.
There we go. Out of Chapel, on to the Hangar Straight. Gary Pearson looking quite imperious now. So well set up, the car doesn't seem to its trajectory, its demeanour doesn't really seem to alter.
No. Where's brother John got to? Because he often shares the car with Gary, doesn't he? Or they have one each.
Busy fitting tyres, I think.
Yeah, I think they actually have one each.
Yes, they do. Yeah, they have a Jaguar each for this sort of thing, and sometimes share.
Well, there's time for 2 more laps, I would say. 2 minutes and 32 seconds. No, there isn't time. This is the last lap. Yeah, this is the last lap that he's just started. And the gap over the line this time has gone up again to 5.3.
It's kind of hovered around that 5-second mark since they came out of the pits, really, hasn't it?
Yes. Just speculate on how it would have panned out had Chris driven all the way. This is just because Richard Kent did a great job.
Did a fantastic job.
But if it had been the same drive, you made the point earlier about how Gary knows what the state of the circuit is when he gets back into the car after the pit stop, or stays in the car.
It's only going to be one lap, isn't it? I think someone of Chris Ward's calibre will pick up exactly what he's doing pretty much straight away. Get a quick briefing from Richard Kent, who handed him the car.
I think we're beginning to see bits of patches of dryness, aren't we, around the place?
Absolutely. And the sky is certainly nice and blue in places. Freddo but blue, as I like to call it.
William Paul, who's been in the car throughout, number 73 in 7th place, has just done his best lap. And 1 or 2 others are doing their best laps as well.
That may bear out your point very nicely. If drivers further down the order are improving now with just the last couple of minutes of the race to go, suggests they're more confident or can see wider, drier lines appearing.
Into Maggots and Beckett's.
It's great to see that heat haze from some of those some of those views. Just glorious.
Well, an excellent way to start the weekend's racing, this race for these gorgeous E-Type Jaguars, the affordable supercar.
It was an affordable supercar maybe in 1961, Ian.
All right, they're
It's
a bit
not
more now. Checker flag out to Gary Pearson. He wins then from Chris Ward, who of course was sharing his car with Richard Kent by 4 seconds. So the gap came down a little on the last lap, but probably because Gary was easing up slightly. 4.009 seconds was the gap. So Gary Pearson, the winner from the Richard Kent, then Chris Ward car, 23 from 88. Third, number 7, although we've got to wait before they arrive on the scene. But it will be the red E-Type of Mark Donner and Andrew Smith. These are some of the back markers being flagged in. But we should have, oh, there's 52, which is down in 8th place.
Yeah, that's Reyes Sauter. Crossing the line now.
But it's quite a way back that the 3rd place car will be.
And she's taken the flag on 20 laps, hasn't she?
Yeah.
That's 144, which is the Potriol family in 9th place.
There we are.
Here we go. Yep, the red and black car is just coming through. That's in 3rd place, number 7, Mark Donner, and finished by Andrew Robertson-Smith. Benjit Dazé there with the Soul Saloon. And then in 4th place is the Wrigleys, Matthew and Mike, who were in the battle earlier on when Matt started out. Instead, Mike got aboard, and we're just waiting for 2 more on the lead lap. And here is the Ollie Bryant car, 111 fixed head coupe, which came out a year or so ago, I seem to remember. Had overheating issues, and they got that sorted now.
Whee! Ollie's celebrating by throwing the car sideways. That wasn't.
Big slide.
He wasn't being caught out. He did that for show. Yeah.
Showboating, I think.
Oh yes, or grandstanding showboating, you want to call it. Absolutely, yes. So Ollie Bryant taking 5th place, and 6th, Robert Farrell in the car started by Dave Coyne.
Yes, that's not quite back yet.
No, it's a long lap. So here we are.
It's in the middle of this group here.
There's Martin Melling into car. Yep. Jason Minshaw started number 55, finishing 12th.
There's Farrell home, but not very far ahead of William Paul. So Farrell and Paul, as opposed to Farrow and Ball, other paint suppliers are available, have just come through 1.1 seconds apart. And they are in 6th and 7th places. There's our victorious pair of winner and runner-up. Gary Pearson 23, 88, now with Chris Ward at the wheel.
Confirmation of the result then, you can see on the screen, Gary Pearson the winner by 4.9 seconds from Richard Kent and Chris Ward. In 3rd place, Mark Donner with Andrew Smith. In 4th place, father and son, Mike, father, Matt, son, Wrigley. In 5th place, Ollie Bryant. In 6th place, Dave Coyne and Robert Farrell. In 7th place, William Paul. In 8th place, started by Andy Newell, number 52, and finishing the car, Reyes Sauter. In 9th place, another father and son pairing, number 144, George and Paul Pochkiol. And in 10th place, who kept up from a poor grid position, finishing in 10th place, 72, Jamie Boot. And the rest of the finishers then, in 11th place, number 77, the car driven by Guy Sisser and Will Arif. 12th after a couple of spins, number 55, the Martin Melling, Jason Minshaw car. In 13th place, number 3, Mark Russell and Tony Jardine. In 4th place, number 84, Reed Gom and Andrew Keith Lucas. In 15th place, another father and son pairing, Ben Adams and his father Peter. In 16th place, number 9, the Mark Gordon, Nick Finberg car. In 17th place, number 167, Andrew Moore. In 18th place, number 100, Louis Bracey. In 19th place, in the Jaguar Mark 1 Saloon, Benjit Desai. And in 20th place, number 184, Rick Wilmot. Fastest lap to Gary Pearson, 2 minutes 47.193 seconds.
That was a cracking race, Ian.
Very good start to the weekend, yes. I can never stop seeing enough E-types. So there's great cars.
You'll see some Alfa Romeos later, which will excite you
yes,
equally.
It's a delicious entry for these races. Just a shame that the GT40s have not come in large numbers, but everybody else has.
3, 2, 1. We're looking for our third place driver at the moment. We're looking for Mark Donner, and here comes Mark. He's a bit slow, isn't he? Come along, Mark. Come on, Mark. He's supposed to be there. Look. Here we go. So at the moment we got George Bruce from our sponsors Ad Valorem, who's going to present the third place prize to Mark Donner in car number 7. Congratulations, Mark. We'll have a chat with you later in a second. Second place, it's Paul Rains from Jaguar Classic. Is going to present to Richard Kent and Chris Ward. Chris on the left and Richard on the right. And our race winner is going to have the trophy presented to him by Matt Bailey, again from Jaguar Classic. And many congratulations there to Gary Pearson. That's our 1, 2, 3. Thank you all. And if we'd like to, Mark, we'd like to just step over here. Yeah, it's a bit tricky. We need line of sight for the camera. Good race.
Fantastic race, thank you very much indeed, yes. Nice and slippy.
Yeah, I was going to say, what were conditions like?
Icy. It certainly felt like
got the sun out. It felt like it. So the Formula One tarmac is not conducive with water on it.
I don't know, I think it's better than I am, but it was a huge amount of fun out there, thank you very much indeed. And I'm delighted that the Pearson team got a third, well in fact a fourth, third, second and first, so congratulations to all of them.
Yeah, and you had to work your way through the field?
Honestly, I can't remember much about the race, so there were a couple of overtaking moves, but I just got into a zone and just kept driving.
Congratulations, and great to see you.
Thank you very much indeed.
Okay, let's see if we can have a chat with our second and third place one. See if we can get Richard, come on, have a chat. Congratulations on second place. You were in the lead just before you came in, I believe, for your change with Chris.
Yes, I should have pitted the lap before and then I could have been in lead when I came in. But yeah, it was great fun. Really good race.
Well, yeah, come on, tell us a bit more about that. What conditions were... I thought the conditions were tricky. What did you think?
Yeah, it was certainly greasy out there. Obviously, I didn't get a great start. Gary and then the silver car nipped past. And then it was just a great battle with the both of them during that first stint. But yeah, it was super slippery. Started to dry up a little bit and then didn't seem to get any drier even though the sun was coming out.
So why should you have pitted a lap before then?
Well, just as in I'd been given the inboard, but I made a mistake at the final corner and missed the pit lane. So
oh dear. Yeah. But if you hadn't admitted to it, no one would have known.
No, I know, true.
But yeah, it's great. It's a great car too, isn't it? With a lot of history.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's just great to be racing here in Cut 7 and being at the front as well. And great to be sharing with Chris, who always does a fantastic job and is more than a safe pair of hands.
Yeah, definitely. Did you set pool time, by the way?
Chris pipped me to that, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, great that he was able to do that and bring the car home in one piece.
Okay, thanks for talking to us. Great. Chris, come along. There we go. Chris, congratulations, second place.
Thank you very much. It was a great race. Richard had a super start and was in and out of the lead with Gary, maintained good pace. And I jumped in, and the harder I tried, the slipperier it got. So it was a question of trying to ease off a little bit, but at the same time try and keep on Gary's toes. But he had that margin, and I just couldn't worry him. But it was a great race. Thank you to Richard for allowing me to drive with him, and great to be at Silverstone this late on in the year.
Yeah, I saw what you went purple there for a while you were trying to chase him, but just couldn't take enough time out of Gary.
No, not at all. I think if I'd have managed to, maybe, I don't know where we lost the time in the pits, whether it was a slow out lap for me or what, but I think if we'd have got closer to him, then we could have worried him a bit more. But because we were so far back, he just maintained that, and I tried harder and went slower, and it was just so greasy, and the conditions were changeable all the time, but really great to be out there.
Oh, Chris, great to see you. Thank you very much. Gary, so we talk to our winner of the Jaguar Classic Challenge. Gary, congratulations on victory.
Yeah, it's good. Nice skid around. It's a nice way to end October, isn't it? Nice way to end the year, really. It's fantastic.
Yeah, look, got the sun come out.
Yeah, good for the marshals as well, because the marshals at Silverstone are absolutely fantastic. You know, the flag marshalling was great during the race. You know, the back markers well behaved. They saw the flags well in time, so we pick our way through without slowing us down. And yeah, miserable for them this morning, and they're all there waving away this afternoon. Yeah, it's great.
So what was the trick then, Gary, to your victory? A good start, and then just maintaining it. But Richard did sneak by for a bit.
Yeah, Richard was driving really well. We sort of went different ways gambled on setup. Richard went a bit softer. I stayed full dry, so I think that probably worked a bit to my advantage at the end. It never properly dried up, but it just got less wet, got incredibly greasy. So yeah, it was yin and yang, I think.
So 1-2 for yourself.
Yeah, and then Mark in another one of our cars was third. So yeah,
1, 2, 3. I think he said you might have got fourth as well.
Well, that'd be nice.
It's great to see you, and yeah, it's good. It's good that you've had a successful start to the weekend.
Yeah, good for Duncan for having the balls to hire the circuit for a whole weekend and put this on for us. It's great.
Yeah, got any more trips out the rest of the weekend?
Yeah, we got the Woodcut Stirling Moss straight after lunch. Got Lister Jaguar, so on the front row with Chris again. So hopefully that'll be another good battle. And then Capri tomorrow.
Oh yeah, gorgeous, isn't it?
Yeah, looking forward to that again with Chris in another Capri. So
I was having a look at it. I'd give it a little stroke. It's great, isn't it?
Wonderful cars. No, we're looking forward to it.
Okay, thanks very much, Gary. Cheers.